Hi Riggers World fans. Today we have a nice exciting new video for you. We're going to be going over how to clean your condenser coils. As you know, cleaning your condenser coils helps your system run a lot more efficiently. It'll help it run better, and it'll help your AC unit run much cooler. So today we're going to be using this foaming cleaner. So we're just going to go through the steps of how we go through cleaning our unit, and then also some of the tools we're going to be using. So here we're going to use our big shop vac, Big Bertha. That's really going to be to get any debris that's inside this unit. We're going to show that to you guys. We're also going to be using our blower just to blow out any of these leaves and things like that that are down here in the coils as well. We really want to try to increase airflow. This is what this is all about. Okay, and we're going to be using our nice little Craftsman pop-up magnetic tray. That's to hold all these little nuts and bolts that we're going to pull off of the unit. Okay, then we're also going to have our 1/4-inch nut driver. It's one of those 12-in-1 electrical screwdrivers. And then we're going to have our Milwaukee with our 1/4-inch nut driver as well. So it's always best to try to do a hand unit, but we have this just in case. First thing that you guys want to do is make sure your AC unit, the thermostat's turned off, which ours is. Then we're going to come right up here. So you're going to have this main service disconnect. You want to pull that out just like that. Close it back up. You don't want to get any water in there. You always want to inspect this. Make sure that this is nice and clean. If there's any burrs or anything like that on there, just kind of a little bit of sandpaper, emery cloth, just make it nice and smooth on there. We're going to set this aside right here on our table. So we're using our DeWalt table. Comes in very handy for everything we do. So the next step, now that we've disconnected power, is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this cover off, move this fan up. We're going to vacuum everything out in between, and then we're going to go ahead and spray our foaming cleaner on there. So we're using this Frost King. We've used it before. Make sure you follow all the manufacturer's instructions right here. So we're going to spray inside and out, and we're going to hose it from the inside out. So here we're going to try to blow some of these leaves out. Just really want to try to get a lot of those guys out if you can. It can be also a little bit difficult when it's close to the house, like many units are. So here we just have a 3-sided coil. Next step, we're going to go ahead and remove the cover. Use our little tray. These screws are generally all the same size. So the magnetic trays definitely come in handy. Last thing you do is want to have all this stuff just fall right in. These are just metal self-tappers. This all depends on your unit. Some units you may have to pull some of these off here depending how they're bolted in, and we'll see on ours. This is something generally you're going to want to do in the early spring before you turn on your unit. We like to do it in the spring and then late summer, early fall. So it's kind of set for next season, even though we do it in the early spring as well. But dirty coils makes for an inefficient unit. And we want the unit to run as efficient as possible and as cool as possible. These bolts also hold this guard on here. Getting behind it could always be a pain in the neck, but if you need to, get yourself a stubby. Now we're going to see if there's any other bolts that are holding it down. So in our unit right here, these 3 are also holding it down. So we're going to remove those. You can see it lifts off just like that. Then you can see inside the unit. So we don't have too much debris in there. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to vacuum that stuff out. Depending on your wire length, you know, depends where you can move this thing. We're also going to clean this thing out a little bit. Make sure everything's nice and clean. We're going to see if we can set this up against the house. So luckily with us, it's staying right there, you know. One of the things you want to avoid is setting it on these top coils. You can see from people in the past how they've kind of crushed these. You want to avoid crushing any of these, right? That's where your airflow is. Just think of it as a radiator in your car. It's pulling air in, all right? And then you can also, what you will also want to inspect are your connections right here from your air compressor through it, because that's where, you know, all that Freon, everything goes through, which helps cool. And then you're going to want to go through and clean out all these areas where you have your capacitor, your relays, and things like that. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Make sure your wire connections are all nice and tight in there. If you have any wire nuts, check them out. But we're going to go through the process. We're going to clean out this area right now. You can use any shop vac. We're just using our big boy here because we haven't used it in a while. You want to get inside of it. If you wanted to get really crazy with it, there's bolts that hold the cage in. You can pull that cage out and really get at some of these that are in here, or try to brush them out, or like we said, blow them out. So I'm going to try to blow them out using the vac here. Want to avoid bending any of these fins that you see here. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. The main thing is just cleaning, getting all the dirt and debris, mainly that dust, that pollen, everything from out of here. So now we're going to go ahead. We're going to use our foam and cleaner. We've already read the instructions right on here. So we're going to shake the can up really well. We're going to spray from the inside out, and then whatever's left over we're going to put on the outside. So it does say avoid contact with electrical wires, so we're going to keep that in mind as well. So we're just going to give a nice shake, and then we're really going to saturate this. One of the things you could also look to determine how dirty your coils is you can look from the inside out and see if you can see daylight and things like that, and vice versa. So you just want to avoid where you have electrical connections. So I like to go in the directions of the coils. The coils are going left to right. You can see it foaming up. So it'll emulsify and it'll break down all that buildup that's on there. And we're going to really let the product do the work. That's the thing, a lot of these products, especially with car detailing, with their formulas, they really break down the dirt and debris for you. Alright, you can see that nice foam in action. Those of you that watch our car detailing videos know we like some foam. Just be care of all your copper connections around your compressor as well. Those are all soldered. We're almost out, but the main thing is we did get saturated from the inside. Okay, while we have the coil cleaner kind of emulsifying and doing this thing, letting it clean, we're gonna go ahead and use some waterless car wash. You can use any all-purpose cleaner. I just felt like using this, and we're just going to clean this area around here. Maybe the blades in the fan. Don't get anything in the motor. And what we did, we put a piece of cardboard just to cover up the electrical components so we don't get anything on it. We're actually using the Chemical Guys waterless car wash. We'll be doing a review on this pretty soon. But Give us a little chance to use it. And we're just going to take a microfiber. This is just an all-purpose. We don't use it on the car. And we're just going to get some of that debris out of there. You can see everything coming off of it. Anything to help your unit run a little bit cooler, right? I mean, is this a necessary step? No, but it helps. Even getting the extra stuff that's on the fan blades so your fan doesn't run out of balance. Just things like that's all we're really talking about here. We give this thing a nice general wipe down. If you wanted to, you can do maybe a stronger all-purpose cleaner in the bottom, and we're going to do that right now as well. So we're going to get something a little bit stronger than our waterless car wash. So we're going to use some Super Clean Foamin' just on the base, right down in here. And let that dissolve. If you wanted to, you can get in there and scrub it with an all-purpose scrub brush. And we're going to try to let the chemicals do the work for us. Again, just trying to get the pan clean. You also want to make sure that none of your holes are clogged. There are drain holes, so when water does get in here, it can drain out. One of the key things we do our unit in the winter is we cover it. So I just made myself a cover. So I just cover the top of the unit. I don't cover the whole thing just because we do have very wet winters here. It does get very cold, and I don't want moisture to get trapped in here and then to start having issues with components. So we just cover the top, prevent a bunch of stuff from getting baked in here. We really just took a piece of wood and we wrapped it twice with a tarp, and it seems to work really well. We've had good luck with it. So we're just going to let this sit for a little bit. If you wanted to, you can, like we said, scrub some of it out. So we're going to let that set for a few minutes, and then we're going to hose this puppy out. We're going to go ahead, we're going to hose it from the inside out. So I'm just going to use a stream. The hose I'm using, you don't want to use a pressure washer on this. You don't want to hurt the coolant fins on here. If you do have one, if you're a nozzle where it has a shower setting, I suggest using the shower setting. So here we're going to go from the top down. I'm not using a crazy amount of pressure. Nice thing is you can see daylight through our coils. Just letting us know they weren't too crazy dirty. We do try to service it annually. And this is something that you can do yourself very easily. As you can see right here. Give yourself maybe a half hour to your day on a weekend. No problem at all. And you can see how it comes out. So if you did have anything on that outside, so we'll do the coils, and then we'll spray the bottom of the pan. One thing to note, you probably do want to wear gloves when you're doing this. There's a lot of sharp edges on your unit. You can hose down your compressor, not a problem with that. They do make compressor covers to help cut down your noise. So we're just giving it a really good rinse. I'm also going to rinse it from the outside in, and then we're going to do one more time from the inside out. Just because we did spray some of that extra on the outside coils. avoid using any type of a brush or anything. I mean, maybe you can use a tiny little bore thread brush, but these fins are so fragile. But you want to be able to see light through it, which we can right now. I'm going to turn this up, try to get some of these leaves out if I can. Okay guys, we've rinsed everything off. We went ahead and we used our shop vac. We got all the debris out of the bottom of our pan. We did a wipe down of the compressor. We just used a wet towel, didn't spray any chemicals on it. But you can see, you know, we can see daylight through our coils. That's exactly what we want. So our next step, put everything back on, put the breaker in, and then test everything. But we want, it's on, fan came on, compressor's on, it's blowing cold air in the house. So you can see, it only took us maybe a half hour at max, about $15 to $20 worth of foam and cleaner. If you do have a larger unit, maybe get 2 of them. So, you know, for under 50 bucks, under a half hour, you can go ahead and service your own unit as far as keeping it clean. Maintaining your AC unit, that's a big part of it right there. Avoid service issues. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. Give us a like and subscribe. Stay tuned for our next video.